Jermaine. Just Jermaine. Just Jermaine. Just Jermaine. Just Jermaine. Just Jermaine. Just Jermaine.
What's up, everybody? We're here with episode 9, and today we're here with Demetrice Everett.
What's going on, man? What's going on, people?
Not much, bro.
It's good to be here, man. And it's good to hear from you too, Jermaine.
You know I had to reach out. And for those of y'all who don't know who Demetrice Everett is, man, a.k.a. Meet the Drummer, this is one of the baddest drummers in the land. When I say one of the baddest drummers in the land, some of the people that you listen to every single day on the radio, they had to call this man up and say, hey, I need for you to come play with me. If you don't mind, just give them a couple of people that you done play with.
Oh, man. Yeah, well, right now I'm currently playing with a hip-hop artist, Moo Fresh. Actually, we're going on tour next month with Common. We're doing like a 4-month tour. Mm-hmm. Some more people, Frank McComb, Marcus Cole, Timothy Wright, Dietrich Haddon.
Hey, you done said
LaShawn Pace.
You done said, hey, you ain't got to go through the whole list because we already know.
Pace, I did her EP. Yeah, I mean,
you already know.
Goes on, man.
I'm about to say, you ain't got to go through the whole list. Matter of fact, the whole podcast is going to be with you going through your list of people that you done played with. I try to tell y'all, man, this man has drummed for some heavy hitters, man. And the dude is like really, really dope. If you don't believe me, go take a listen for yourself. Go check out Spotify. Go on iTunes and download his album called Life. Meet, let's talk about that album for a minute, man. Walk us through that process that it took for you to make this album.
Oh, wow. Yeah, man. Let me take you all the way back to the very beginning. Around 2011, around up in there, man, you know. I was excited, you know, to start my career. Mm-hmm. Wanted to put out, you know, some music. I started writing, you know. So what I did, I gathered up about 11 songs. Thought I was doing a little bit. Went to the studio, laid the drums down, and everything happened so fast. So I was like, wow, man, you know, putting out music ain't that bad. You know, I did this real fast.
Right.
So by the time we finished, the engineer was like, look here, man, like, this not going to work. Like, this is not, you know, this is not quality. It's not, you know, good music.
Wow.
You need to get around, you know, some more producers, get around some people that's in the industry that's, you know, that's really doing it and has the upper hand that can really help you out, you know.
Right.
So it was really heartbreaking, man, because I was really, you know, looking forward to putting out that music, but at the end of the day, it wasn't ready. And then when I go back and listen to it, it wasn't ready. It definitely wasn't ready, man. So, man, what I did, you know, I didn't get mad. I told him I appreciate it, you know, so I took some time off, man, you know. Couple of years I took off and just wrote, got around some other producers, got around, you know, different engineers. I got around a lot of people that's in the industry that can really, you know, be upfront, tell me the truth. Mm-hmm. So by 2013, man, I actually put out my first single. Then the next year, put out another single. The next year, put out another single. So I ended up putting out about 4 singles before I actually started on my album. So this time, you know, I got around a lot of great musicians, you know, and everybody wanted to be a part. I had other producers that wanted to write. So it was like I had a lot of ears on, you know, on my stuff, which was great. So This album that I just put out, Life, you know, the guys that's playing on, I have a lot of great musicians, a lot of great producers, you know, so my album is, you know, is industry quality because I had those people, you know, putting their ears on it and just telling me, look, this don't sound right, try this, you know, and, you know, it all came together. Within a year and a half, man, I was able to put out my first album.
Okay, can you name a couple of people that was on it?
Woo! Marcus Anderson, for one. Marcus Anderson, man, you know, he's a Billboard artist. He played with Prince like his last 45 years before he died. Mm-hmm. Kevin Wilson, he's a living legend. I got Jonathan DuBose, Marcus Cole, Nicholas Cole, Marcus Pitt, they was like great producers that engineer and produce it.
That's dope.
Ashley Doe, A Love. Man, I have a lot of great Showcase. He plays for Anthony Hamilton. I have a lot of great guys that's on it, man.
Okay. That's pretty dope, man. That's pretty dope. And especially to hear their process, how the engineer had to basically give you some constructive criticism and say, hey, you ain't ready. But what made you take 2 years off? Why 2 years?
Because I just, first of all, the first couple of months I took off, I was just trying to find myself because I'm like, okay, this man pretty much just told me like my stuff don't sound right. So I was really trying to find myself. So the process of it, me not doing anything, it took longer because I was really like just trying to find myself. Mm-hmm. Then that's when I reached out, to some guys that's in the industry. And then, I started sitting up in a lot of the guys' studios, just seeing how they operate, how they mix, how they write, and I just was pretty much a student of, production. So that's why it took me so long, because I really wanted to learn the whole ins and out in production.
Okay. You had to be a sponge for a while.
Right.
Okay. And I noticed that you named a lot of heavy hitters that you played for. Mm-hmm. to get on that type of level, to be drumming on that level, what did you do to get that attention of those people?
Wow, man. First of all, I started in the church. So to me, like a lot of musicians, especially like drummers that starts out in church, like we kind of get like a upper hand, because with church, you play from the emotions. Like, you never know when somebody might break out in a song, or you never know when the director do something. So it's like you have to watch, and it really trains you to be able to, be aware of everything, to be able to hear a lot of stuff that goes on. So growing up as a child, like we kind of get an advantage of that. So, I built my craft. I kind of started a little late in my drumming, because I was a basketball, football. I was an athlete.
Right.
So I kind of learned the whole trying to be a professional and all of that late in my career. So what I did, man, my first major gig was with jazz pianist out of DC, Marcus Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
So, I kind of bombed. I ain't gonna say I really bombed that show, because all I knew was church. Right. All I knew was church. I couldn't play R&B. I couldn't play jazz, Latin. Whatever he told me to do that night, give me a Latin feel, give me a R&B feel on this song. Everything I did was pretty much like a church cat. You could tell I was a church cat. So all my feels was different. So I bombed it. In sound check, I was down. He was like, you're gonna be okay, man, So after the show, I bombed the show. Like, I can play, I can groove, but it's a difference between playing on that next level.
Right.
That next level, you have to know that stuff. So after the show, he put me to the side and he told me what I need to learn. Listen to this guy, listen to this style of music, learn this, learn that. So, that's what I did. And I kind of, built my way all the way up to where I'm at now by just, going and learning, going to like different shows, learning, from the pros, guys that's way better than me. After the show, I go and ask a question, or on the internet, I'm asking questions, how I do this, like, how can I better myself? How can I do this?
Right.
And man, I was just like a sponge, like I really wanted. So I perfected my craft.
And you know what? You said a key word right there. You really wanted it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, they like to do music, but a lot of them really don't want to do music. Like,
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? They look at it more like a hobby and not trying to look at it as a career.
Right.
I get it, because, with me, I got a similar story. Like, when I first started mixing stuff, it sounded like absolute garbage. It really did. But I got up with a couple cats, Jason Richmond, Greg Serdiano, who was Warren G's mixer.
Right.
And when I got up with them, they basically just told me, they said, you heading in the right direction. You just need to relax. They say you're trying too hard. Yep. I was like, what do you mean? I'm like, ain't you supposed to do it like this? Ain't you supposed to? They was like, no, man, they said you so focused on the technical side of things and not focused on the feeling of how it's supposed to feel.
Hey, that's true, man.
And
that's true.
Because when it comes to a mix, and that's something that I had to learn in the studio, like, okay, let's say I got an artist, a producer, and a couple musicians, right? All in the studio. Let's say we're doing live. The artist is going to want to sing it and want their stuff to sound a certain way. The producer's going to want it to sound a certain way. And of course, the musicians want their instruments to sound a certain way. But at the end of the day, whoever's paying for the session, that's who wins the battle.
That's right.
and 99% of the time, it's the producer that's paying for the session.
Exactly.
But at the same time, you don't want the artist to be, you don't want to throw away the artist's ideas and throw away the musician's ideas. And it's kind of hard to give that balance. But you got to find a balance. Give the producer what he wants, and at the same time, without pulling away from what the musicians feel and what the artists feel. And I say that because you want all three of them to come back to you and for more work, instead of just the producer saying, I like what he did, so I'm going to come back to him. But now you done lost that artist, you done lost that musician. So when artists and musicians get together and they talk a lot. So I ain't seen too many musicians that don't know each other. It's weird, but it's like it's a huge family and all of them know each other. Exactly.
And it's a circle, man.
It's a big circle, man. It's a giant circle. And it's a small giant circle, put it that way. If that make any sense. Like, cause it's not a lot of good musicians, but all of them that do play, they all know each other. And it's crazy when I found that out, that I'm like, when I first met Eric and I was like, Dad, and he would say, man, you know Meek? He was like, yeah. I said, man, I grew up with Meek.
Right.
And then I started talking about, I'm like, yeah, Meek doing this. He said, yeah, I know. I said, you already, know. He was like, yeah. He was like, yeah, man, I done checked out a couple of the shows and everything. I was like, word.
Yep, small world, man.
Small world, man. I had the blessing of being the engineer at our church, and Everett was the drummer. Mm-hmm. I had that blessing of engineering him every single Sunday. And a live engineer is completely different from studio. It is way different. Like when you were saying about how you had to learn everything and they pulled you to the side and say, hey, you got to learn everything. That's the same thing my man Javante was like. He like, okay, you know what you're talking about because you've done a lot in the studio. He said, but you got to learn live. It's different. Bruh,
yep.
I ain't gonna lie. Because if something go wrong live, you need a right now fix. I ain't got 30 minutes to an hour to fix it. It needs to be fixed right now. And you know what I'm saying? I had a couple of people that came up in there, KB, Jacqueline Carr, Marvin Sapp, Brian Andrew Wilson. That's just to name a few. Todd Galbert. I just had to, that's just to name a few, but it's been a lot more than that, man. If that list is pretty long, man, but I had the experience of actually being able to engineer them and then actually matter of fact, Canton Jones, I was actually backstage with Canton Jones. And when Canton was, I actually spoke with him, and he basically, and then he was telling me what he wanted on stage. Now, what made this hard is that Canton Jones didn't come to sound check.
A lot of artists do that, man.
There are a lot of, oh my God, man, a lot of artists, man, they don't show up to sound check. They send their producers or who are their road managers, whoever's on the road with them, they send them to sound check, and then they show up. And I'm like, yo, I don't have any set and save for your voice. Mm-hmm. So you got to wing it. And it's crazy because when they show up, they turn around and tell you or give you a quick rundown of what they want.
They want, right.
And they expect for you to pull it off in the matter of seconds. You like, bro, you about to walk on this stage and you just now telling me I'm not even at the board right now. I got my backup at the board. I came back here to make sure your mics and everything was right. Bruh. But it was very challenging, man, but it was good, man. I really enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed it, man. I loved it. To be able to get that experience, man. I thank God all the time, man, for blessing me to be able to have that experience, because being a live engineer actually made me better in the studio.
That's right, man.
And
Experience is the best teacher, man.
Yeah. And it was really dope engineering with them, man. How was it playing? Like, how was the attitudes of the people that you was able to play with? Like you said, you played with Marcus Anderson. You was able to play with Demetrice Haddon and all those people. Man, how was their attitudes, doing practices and doing shows? And even after the show?
The man that I think a lot of musicians, they kind of get it twisted, man. Like when you get hired to do a job, like you can't go in trying to be like that artist's best friend. You can't go in trying to be their best friend, and you can't go in trying to be so opinionated.
Right.
You just got to go in and do your job. Like once you go in and start doing stuff like you ain't supposed to be doing, that's when a lot of stuff would go sour. A lot of people, they get mad at the artist's attitude, or he this and he ain't that. But you got to sit back and visualize and see what you did. Like you could have rubbed that artist the wrong way. Like you could have showed up in rehearsal not even sweet on your music. Or
right.
you could have been like nagging. You could have been like, "Oh, can I get a picture? And they looking like, "Hey, let's do this show first." Like little stuff like that. Like
right.
when you go, you got to be mindful when you playing. When you playing for an artist, like you can't be starstruck. You just got to go in and do your job. And I had situations where I got a call. I play show up, do the job. Sometimes don't even really like talk to the artist. Like, hey, bye. Like the situation with Demetrice Haddon, it was a situation where an artist, he came to Greenville and the artist didn't. We supposed to play for another artist. The artist, I guess, the money. I don't know what happened with the whole situation with that, but I never even talked to Demetrice Haddon. He came in and he was telling the MD whatever songs he wanted to play. Boom, boom, boom. We played the songs and we was out. You know what I'm saying? Like I could have been like real starstruck playing like some guys I seen they holding the camera up just while they playing, and like stuff like that could rub. You know what I'm saying? You never know who's watching, or he could tell the next person, what he seen when he came. But
right.
That's what happened. Another thing is, when I got the chance to play with Sheila E., when I got that call, they flew me out to Florida.
Mm-hmm.
I learned the show and everything. Remind you now, like I never played with this band. I never played with her. I was filling in for her drummer who was out on tour at the moment. So,
right.
I got word from her that she was going to get with me and sound check. We'll go through everything. So I'm like, okay, cool. I get there. They fly me out a day before. And then the next day we get ready to do the show. Sound check comes up. Sheila E. don't shows up. So now I'm like, wow, like I don't even know this lady. Like, okay, what do I do? So I had to do my homework. Had I not known the music, like I would have, I could have easily like failed that test. And
right.
so like 10 minutes before the show, we backstage, that's when I finally meet, like Sheila E. So I kept my my posture, remain professional, like you always supposed to do, then that's when she told me, hey, this is what we're going to do. This is what I expect for you, blah, blah, this and that. We went on, did the show, great show and everything, man. I still have her contacts and everything.
Well, that's dope. That's some great, that's definitely some great advice for the young crowd, for especially these millennials that's coming up, man. Cause that attitudes is completely different from how ours are.
Right.
We came up different. So we was always taught to be respectful, to be kind to elders and just anybody that we're going to go represent anyway. These millennials is on a whole nother level, boy. Something don't go their way, or they just want to say something right. Man, they ready to go upside your head quick. So that's definitely some dope advice to give an upcoming musician or upcoming rising artist, and they may get in that situation where they may be able to play for somebody that's on that level. You know what I'm saying? Because I know my nephew is like really, really dope as a guitarist, man. And what's so bad about it? I didn't even know the boy can play.
Wow!
I didn't even know he can play it. And my sister was like, the baby boy can play now. I said, play what? He can play guitar. She said, you never seen him play? I said, no. I said, I didn't know that he could. I never seen him pick up an instrument because she had twin boys. And I'm gonna tell you what happened. They go to church on Sunday and they go sit by the band pit.
Wow.
They just sat there. Now, remind you, these boys are still in high school.
Mm-hmm.
But at this time, they wasn't even in high school. I think they was just barely in middle school. And they used to just go watch the band, and they learned based on what they saw. They couldn't read. They didn't know music at all. They didn't know nothing about it. They just knew that's what they love. And they sat there and they watched every single Sunday. And then after church, you know how the kids go. Then they jump on the instrument, start playing, and they really start playing, and it shot through the roof from there. Like, he put something up on IG, and Plies replied to it, and Plies was like, man, he was like, what y'all think? Should I take this? He said, should I take little homie on the road with me? And that's crazy. I think he was like 15 at the time, bro.
Wow. That's amazing, man.
Yeah, and some of Key Sweat people they reached out. They wanted him too, man. I'm like, man, this boy ain't even finished high school yet. And y'all talking about carrying him on the road?
That's how it happens, man.
But like you said, that professionalism, man, and you know what I'm saying? That's like key. That's everything. That's key to life, no matter where you at, where you go. Right. It's all about how you treat people, how you talk to people, and that'll carry you further than anything. Like my homie DL, I'm gonna tell you what he told me a long time ago. He said, I know some really dope engineers that's better than you. As an engineer, I'm like, okay, it kind of got to me until he finished the sentence.
Right.
Because he was like, I know some engineers that's better than you. They mix better than you and everything. He said, but you would end up going further than them because of your professionalism. He said, you stick by your word. Whatever you say you're going to do, you do it. You professional in the studio. You make people feel comfortable in the studio. He said, unlike these other cats, they stuff do sound better than yours. But when they say, when I tell them I need my stuff by Friday, I don't see it. He said, if I tell you I need it by Friday, I got it Thursday.
That's always good, man.
So, and that was key with me, is to be able, and that's another thing. My man Dante said the same thing. He was like, man, how in the world are you able to get these mixes out so fast? I said, bruh, I pre-mix while I record. Mm-hmm. Every time I hit that button to stop the track so the artist can clear their throats, get a drink of water, use the restroom, do whatever, get their thoughts together, whatever it is that they doing, I'm already throwing stuff in certain areas, certain places. I'm documenting, I'm putting notes in there. So it helps speeds up my process.
Right.
And that's the same thing. I do that everywhere, man. And it works out pretty good for me, man. So tell me this, man. I know you got to be working on a second album, because I know with that first album, you was telling me about the numbers that you was getting on that first album, and all the connections and stuff that you was getting just from putting that out. So I know a second album is coming.
It's definitely coming, man. Like my goal is to put it out next year around early fall. Mm-hmm. But I'm definitely working on the album, and this album is it's some showing up heat, man. It's way better than the first one. Like I said, the first album was a good process of me learning. It was a good learning process. But this second album is gonna be more so me just like out the box almost. Like I'm just really just being who I am on the kick. I got a lot of dope producers that's writing for me, whatnot. We're gonna put it all together, man. We collaborate a lot with a lot of different musicians and producers. So we gonna minimize everything down. Like, it's gonna be hard trying to pick which song I'm gonna actually use, but the collaborations that I'm doing right now, this album is gonna be real dope that I'm putting out next year.
Good. So tell me this: what are your social media handles? Let everybody know so they can be aware when you about to drop this album, so they can be aware when you're going on your tour dates, everything.
Cool. Actually, you can go to my website, which is Meet the Drummer. That's www.meetdadraummer.net. And everything is Meet the Drummer. Meet the Drummer, Facebook, Meet the Drummer, Instagram, Meet the Drummer, YouTube. Everything is Meet the Drummer. You can find me on all social media networks.
Okay, so what if somebody actually want to meet the drummer? Where can they meet you at? So let them know your tour dates, where you're going to be at. You got anything coming up real soon?
Yeah, man. Actually, I'm going on tour next month with Common. Like I said, I'm the drummer for Moo Fresh.
Mm-hmm.
So we're actually going out on tour with Common. The first date is August 7th in Toronto. That's when the tour starts.
Mm.
You know, but I got other dates also with Moo Fresh. August the 2nd, we out in Louisiana doing a show, and then we, you know, straight to Toronto for the tour. So you can actually go on my website, meetthedrummer.net, and you'll be able to see like all the dates. And I think I have to like update like all my tour dates, but that'll definitely be done as soon as possible. And everybody, you can be able to catch me out on, you know, a certain city that we in on this tour next month.
Well, that is awesome, man. Man, with that being said, I know you got to have some endorsements. Got to. Actually,
man, it's crazy because everybody tells me that, and I'm not big on endorsements. Like, you know, the only endorsement I have in-ears. Like, I was really big on that, like having the in-ears, but I never, like, you know, was really big on like having endorsement, which I should be, you know, and I should do better with, you know, reaching out and getting that stuff done. With me personally, man, like with my router, like when I show up at a show, everything is there on my router. Like, so, and I'm the type of person, like I like to play what I like to play. Like, you know, if I'm endorsed with, let's say I'm endorsed with Remo Drumheads, you know, sometimes I want to play Evans, so I go back and forth now, and then sometimes like, you know what, I'm gonna put them up. And I'm going to use these accordion heads. So, I mean, I always been like that. And I think I should just narrow it down and just stick with one. But I always just, you know, I switch it up a lot. So
but
that's kind of holding me back from really, like, shooting for the endorsement, because I like to play what I like to play, and I like to switch it up when I get ready.
But that's a good thing that you switch it up, because different songs, you got to have different tones, because no head sound the same.
Right.
Everything is different. So I think that's pretty dope that you're doing it like that. And I think I'm pretty sure there's some billionaire out there thinking about how he can make money off an drummer like yourself that like to go from this one to this one to this one. I guarantee somebody out there plotting something right now.
Yeah, man, exactly. But like I said, man, I need to just really like get on and just go for it, man, for endorsement. But, you know, when I show up to whatever city we at, like everything that's on my router, it's right there. So it's, you know.
Well, that's good,
to
man.
each his own, man. You know, some people love endorsements. They big on. To me, I just like to play what I like to play, man. So it's really not, you know, big of a deal for me. You know.
And it's funny that you brought up the riders, because a lot of upcoming artists and musicians, they don't even know what a rider is. Put it this way: if you want to be happy at your show, put your rider together and make sure you get everything that's on it, because they got to agree to it.
That's right. That's right.
And if you don't know the proper definition, Google's definitely going to be your friend. Man, you need to learn more. That's the same thing that Meat was just saying, man. You got to get out there. You got to study your craft, man. You got to learn your craft. Right. And, you know, that's the same thing I did, man. I watched a lot of stuff on Tony Maserati, Jack Joseph, you know, all those guys, all those mainstream guys. And Guru. I watched a lot of stuff on them. It's just to see how they do stuff and why they do stuff. And all of their stuff sounds great, and all of them do it different. So that tells me it was no wrong way to mix. Once I learned that it was no wrong way to mix, that's when I figured out my own process.
Right.
But me, I am glad that you was a part of the show today. I am very glad that you accepted my invite to come on the show.
Thanks for having me, man.
And walking out into your life, man, and just giving us a journey of what it took for you to get to where you are. And everybody, go get Life off of iTunes, Spotify, and watch out and go to what you said was meetthedrummer.net.
Yep, meetthedrummer.net.
Make sure y'all follow this man and y'all support this man to go everywhere that he's going, show up at the shows, and you know what I'm saying? And if you try to holler his name out, tell him I sent you. And with that being said, man, keep your ears open, keep your eyes closed. And a lot of y'all won't understand that, but the true ones do. Peace.